Peace, peace, peace. This is Aurora Divine. I go by Divine Intuition 444 here on YouTube. And I haven't been here in such a while that today it was a reflection for me to get back into my self-expression. And one of the ways that I used to I used to express self was through YouTube. And these videos used to be for everyone, but now they're for me. And so this is a message for me and whoever resonates. But I did want to share a wonderful message and some really deep, profound things that happened today, or just realizations. So as we know, I think tomorrow is the lunar eclipse, full moon lunar eclipse. And energetically, I've been feeling very heightened. I would say the energy started heightening around Saturday. But then I realized that the moon was in Aries, and so Aries rules the head. So that could be as to why a lot of us might be feeling a heightened sense of energy. But I've been doing some healing, and today was just a profound healing day. And I had some communication from Spirit, of course. And by the way, I might be a nerd, but I absolutely love the movie Interstellar. And so I might be old to Interstellar, or I might be new to Interstellar. Interstellar might be old for a lot of people. However, this amazing movie I just saw this year, and I was guided to see it. And it made so much sense why I was guided. You know, everything happens in divine timing. And so today was a very big healing day for me. And my body's vibrating, you know. My body is vibrating right now. So much so that I had to share a few things, right? And so a lot of us might be coming into purging and releasing. And today was definitely a day of purging. And before we get into that, I would love to express how necessary it is to release. And we might say purge, right? But it is going deep within yourself. Obviously, we know that traumas stay frozen in our body, and we push them down so far to the depths of hell, where the only way that we are able, for some of us, to actually realize where those traumas are hiding, it's in the depths of hell. And when I say that, I mean it in the way of consciousness, because heaven and hell is a state of consciousness. And so I'm making this video to remind myself that these are consciousnesses, not who we are. And so there's a lot of things that I've realized that myself and others around me have a very distorted narrative or understanding of certain things. And with that being said, the reason why we release is so that we can make room for new, right? But more so it's self-development and self-evolution. But the overall is for evolution. And I hope you guys notice that I'm keeping a focal point on myself and that beautiful plant and painting aspects of me, of course. But you know, there were some things that I ended up releasing today, and throughout all of these releases, I finally got a wonderful message from Spirit, and Spirit told me to rejoice in the purge. And I wrote a lot of this down because this was, like I said, a message for me to go back to. Maybe even messages for others who are navigating things the same way that I am. And it doesn't all come at once. It comes when we need it to. And being patient throughout our journey and allowing ourselves to be vulnerable. And allowing ourselves to be vulnerable and not be judged by others, because we can tap into our vulnerability. Vulnerability is a superpower, not to be placed in judgment. And I had an experience where being vulnerable in front of people or a person that was disconnected emotionally, it made me feel like I was being judged. And because this person would not allow himself to tap into that space of vulnerability, it was looked upon to me as if I was depressed or weak. And before we impress those type of thoughts and energy onto someone, we really need to be asking ourselves, are we really tapping into our own traumas? Are we really doing the work before we start to say things that are not necessarily true? The fear of judgment and persecution, right? I think a lot of us, we tend to deal with that on a regular. And it's unfortunate because it's those that haven't done the work are the ones that are quick to superimpose what they feel about us. The ones that are tapping in, the ones that are making way, right, for new. And in that sense, I had, and I think this also aligns with the new moon, or I'm sorry, the full moon eclipse coming up. But I had released quite a few things today. And one of the best things that I've ever heard from my ancestors, mind you, when I say ancestors, I'm speaking from within, okay? This, I hope, reaches who it needs to reach. But, I'm sorry, however, most importantly, I hope it resonates with someone, right? I ended up releasing quite a few things today. A lot of these things were pain, isolation, void, anger, inhibitions, false narratives of self, burdens. And after all that was said, like I said, the Spirit said, rejoice in this purge, rejoice in the purge, rejoice in the release, right? And then the second thing that I heard was, ascend your throne, not your shadow. This, I'm getting vibrations again. This was really strong. That last message, ascend your throne, not your shadow. Whoever that resonates with, whoever that reaches, may it find you. And may you listen to the words. May these words vibrate within you. And then after that, I started getting a download, literally, about the Purge movies. And that's the real reason that I wanted to come in. But I had to give more so a backstory so that we can talk about the Purge movies real quick. And the Purge movies have to deal with trauma, of course, right? But it has to deal with how you either do not work on your trauma or you move with working forward and releasing your traumas. Now, the Purge movies only showed me one thing. The reason why people purge is because they've restricted themselves from going in and releasing and purging on their own. Something within themselves calls them weak. Something within themselves calls them depressed. As if feeling is weak. As if just feeling is not what we should be doing. I've met some people that don't feel. They escape. I know that quite a few people can resonate with that, right? And when you speak to these people that don't feel, they're only worried about escaping. Well, that ends up being something that you see, you feel within yourself, and you notice that something's just not right about it. For someone to not go to a place within themselves and not release, and what I mean by release is allowing that to come up how it may. For me, a good cry. Crying doesn't make anyone weak. And just because I'm crying today doesn't mean that I cry every day. But I allow myself to go there. I allow myself to feel whatever it is that I need to feel. If my eyes get watery and all of a sudden tears are just coming down my face, it's not because I'm depressed. It's because my spirit is speaking to me about something and I have to let something go. And sure enough, all you need to do is ask yourself, what is it? What are we releasing? And everything that I had mentioned were all of the things that I literally heard myself say. So it's not like I don't know. It's not like I don't have the answers. Other people don't have the answers to you. You have the answers to you. Let's not get this twisted. So the whole thing about about Purge, and I'm gonna have to take a look into Spawn, but the whole thing about the Purge is that's what it looks like when you hold something in so long that no matter what you do, essentially it has to come out. This whole thing about heaven and hell, good and evil, there's no such thing. It is you. Essentially, what is evil is your trauma. Everything is rooted in trauma, right? But essentially, what we deem evil is really an opinion, right? You think that people are evil. People are misunderstood. People do traumatic things. Hurt people hurt people. We've heard this plenty of times. This is just a reminder to myself. Hurt people will hurt people. That's all they know. So before I start to label someone as evil, I'm gonna understand, most importantly, that there's something within them that needs help. There's something within them that needs healing. And who am I to sit here and call somebody evil, call somebody depressed? I'm not living their shoes. I don't know what's going on in their life. But the one thing that I can do is listen and reflect on how their life could be mine. Empathize. We don't have to sit here and judge somebody for having a moment of vulnerability. It's crazy. It's really crazy that for some people, you cry once in front of them and all of a sudden you're considered depressed. You cry once to release something, and all of a sudden you have a problem. It's more like that mentality is a problem in today's day. The mentality that you have to always be hard body. I can't stand this hard body shit. Excuse me. But it's not sustainable. Like, yeah, it is if you're a zombie, you know? If you're a zombie, it's sustainable because they don't feel anything. But now that makes you realize, right? That makes me realize how many zombies are walking around me. How many zombies? How many people can I actually say are feeling, are in communication with their own spirit, are connected to the divine? A lot of people don't even feel worthy. That's the truth. They don't feel worthy of much. And the worthiness that they do have, they equate it to something materialistic, which is, again, not much. Before things get to the point where our traumas come out in such an extreme polarity, I have, everyone has the ability to do the work. That's strength, not weakness. That's strength. When you can sit here and you can sit with your thoughts, you can sit in your darkness, and you can still raise or rise back. More like, if we need to fall to learn the lessons on how to rise again, then let us do so. But let us do so without the judgment of others, because that is also something that hinders growth. And again, the fear of judgment and persecution is something that is literally instilled in our government. You get it? So it's literally a program instilled in us to govern how we think, how we move. So it's either you're assisting in the evolution, or you're creating more barriers of separation. And the first thing that came to me today was that I was releasing the pain of separation. Tears just started flowing down my face. And I had no idea why. I wasn't thinking of anything. But then when I asked myself, my internal dialogue answered myself, and that was all I needed. Literally, it was all I needed to understand what was going on. I got more than just one answer because I kept asking. We have all the answers. I have all the answers within myself. There are some things, of course, where it might take me a little bit longer But I have all the answers. If you fall, you are supposed to rise again. If you fall, you are supposed to rise again, not stay buried in your shadow. Some people live there. And Spirit told me today, you don't dwell there. Ascend your throne, not your shadow. I am not my shadow. My shadow is an aspect of me, but I am not my shadow. My shadow is there to show me what it is that is hiding in the dark. Maybe what I put in the dark. But that does not mean that that is who I am. So with that being said, this is me logging off. Take care.